I was part of a panel in the Progress Singapore Party's discussions about fertility as well as how to improve Singapore's TFR, the total fertility rate. So my section focused on how a good and solid public housing program would be more supportive of the young couples to get married, set up their homes, and then produce babies. My presentation at the panel discussion was about from BTOs to baby boom, but BTOs unaffordable, which may cause a dampener on the desires of these young couples to, after settling down, to procreate. So a very simple, short presentation that I made, the agenda being, let's compare today's multiverse, the current universe that we are living in, versus an alternative multiverse, another world where PAP's suggested public housing policy is in place. And then let's look at the 25 years of the BTO cost to a young family, comparing the costs over the two different scenarios. Then let's consider what are the total costs to the nation. So current multiverse. Yong and his wife bought a BTO in today's world. Based on today's rules, it was financed using 150,000 of down payment from their CPF accounts. They took advantage of a $50,000 grant for the HDB flat, and they borrowed $300,000 from HDB to be paid over 25 years with a monthly payment by Kyong and wife using their CPF contribution. So withdrawing from CPF OA to service the loan. I've highlighted in blue and red the differences with the PSP multiverse, as well as I've underlined the purchase cost. Now, PSP has proposed that BTOs be sold initially without the land cost component. That would make the entry price much more attractive to young couples, and subsequently, once they put it back into the resale market, when it comes back up to the market price at the point of resale, then the young couple then repays back HDB the component that is the land price. We are not going to be talking about resale today. We are just focused on the BTO pricing without land cost. So under the PSP multiverse, when the land cost has been removed, Kyong and wife would be buying a BTO in that world, in that universe, at $400,000. They would also have worked a few years and saved up and using 150,000 of down payment from their CPF funds. But in that world, because the government has already taken up the land cost, the affordability has already improved. There's no need to provide a grant anymore. So you see grants and $0 grants there. The loan would also be slightly lower. Instead of $300,000, $250,000, and that would also be repaid over 25 years. So now let's look at how much money Kyong and his wife would save over the 25-year period. The yellow line is the current multiverse, green line, the PSP multiverse. We have excluded the higher stamp duties and higher annual property taxes in the current multiverse in this calculation and illustration. Over a 25-year period, say Kyong and his wife today are about 30 to 35, they would then be about 55 years old when they have finished paying up the loan. But over this period, using these two simple examples, the savings to the couple would have been 93,000, meaning in their CPF accounts jointly, they would be richer by $93,000 when they are nearing their retirement age. So the total cost over the lifetime is not, affordability is not, should not be simply seen from the point of view of acquisition of the BTO, but it should be seen over the lifetime of financing that BTO flats. So you see, as they reach towards the last part of their career, their productive economic life at about 55 to 60 years old, both of them have 93,000 more in their CPF accounts. This gap includes the interest that they would have earned by paying less each month to the BTO mortgage loan, because the couple in the current multiverse would be paying a mortgage of 1,361 a month over a 25-year period. So meaning each of them through their CPF would probably be paying about almost 700 a month. Here, in this multiverse, when you have removed the land cost, the mortgage contribution by each of them would be about less than $600 a month. So over a 25-year period, it really compounds. Plus, withdrawing less from your CPF funds means that you'll be earning more in terms of the 2.5% in the ordinary account over this period. So when we total that up, the savings plus the additional earnings of the 2.5% in the CPF ordinary account, you see that 93,000 is actually quite a handsome sum for this couple to retire and improve their retirement adequacy, take care of their health care, as well as daily necessities as they go into retirement. So what about the total cost to the nation then? The learning points from this simple example is that for Kyung and his wife, every month for 25 years, they pay 230 less, which means that by the time they are 60 years old, they have in combination 93,000 more in CPF funds. For the Singapore government would save on the grants that they have to dole out each year. So less pressure on budget deficits or less pressure on HDB and M&D having to give out more money, lower annual losses that HDB would have to incur. And Singapore government might also, in a positive scenario like this, where the family has got less financial stress, less worries about their ability to retire comfortably, the families might be motivated to have babies at 30, 35 because the financial stress, the cash outlay, the CPF outlay is lower. The total cost to society in 25 years' time, because the aging couple now has got more in their CPF accounts, retirement adequacy is improved. The total cost to society, the social welfare expenses that we will have to spend taking care of poor retirees, that would go down significantly because we have allowed them, using a lower BTO cost, to build up more savings for themselves. Another suggestion actually for the PSP multiverse to make the public housing program even more robust is my suggestion that we increase by 5 times today the total number of 3-room flats, 4-room flats, and 5-room flats of HDB stock that's available for long-term rental for all families in Singapore. Because today's job market, gig economy, more temporary jobs, volatility in the markets, especially in terms of employment and skill sets, the mismatch that we have because technology is coming in to disrupt some of the golden rice bowl type jobs, that we should allow families the flexibility of doing long-term rentals with good security of tenancy. So if HDB increase their existing stock of 60 over 1,000 rental flats, HDB currently has stock of 60 over 1,000 flats for rent, only for the very low income families. If we could increase this stock 5 times, make it 300 over 1,000 of the 1.1 million HDB flats, so about 30% of the 1.1 million HDB flats, allow families who are in transition who are waiting to save up more before they own their HDB by getting into the BTO market, allow these young people or families that are in financial uh, situations to start renting, continue renting for as long as they wish. And by the time they build up sufficient reserves and savings, then get into a BTO, get into a resale flat, go into home ownership. So that's my suggestion that will help alleviate the financial pressures for families and then allow more families to consider having babies. And in that presentation with the PSP team of speakers, I also suggested that I'll contribute another four-letter word to this country that loves acronyms so much. MSFA, make Singapore fertile again. As it was a live stream conversation and discussion with the panelists, there were people on the Facebook channel that posted questions. These were two questions and comments that came in that day. What would be your advice to young couples about applying for their BTOs today? And another question coming on as I was talking about increasing the pool of rental flats for young couples as well as families that may be in financial stress. The question was, isn't paying monthly rent helping the landlords with their mortgages? Why not use the rent to pay towards your own home mortgage, meaning a preference for ownership instead of rental? Many ways of thinking about this because I'll answer these two questions together. Once you lock yourself up into a 25-year loan, it is a liability. It is something that you, as a responsible borrower, should be making sure that you are repaying. But nobody is going to be guaranteed 25 years of steady income because of job stability, because there are employers willing to guarantee you with the iron rice bowl. Furthermore, either of the couple, Kyung or his wife, could also have health issues, may also want to take a break to bring up their children, or may want to switch careers into slightly lower paying. Or what happens if Kyung at 40 years old got offered a fully paid Masters or PhD scholarship, but even though the 300,000 US dollars of an MBA could be fully paid on scholarship, he wouldn't have the regular income to be able to pay for his home mortgage. In that case, if he were to continue renting from HDB, the opportunity arises for him to go further his studies or further his training attachments and losing a bit of income in Singapore. That's not so much an issue. But once you're locked into a 25-year home loan, you would generally forego such opportunities. So my advice for young couples today, and similarly, I have been advising some of my university students who are thinking about getting into marriage as well as applying for the BTO, is that there shouldn't be any rush to get into the home ownership program. There may be kiasu people encouraging you to buy first because prices will always increase. But consider your own flexibility. Why not build up your nest egg first? Husband and wife having $200,000 each in your CPF OA. And with that plus cash savings, then consider getting into your first home but borrowing less, as little as below 50% borrowing. That would also then free up your life with less financial stress as you're paying your mortgage, worrying less about whether you will be made redundant in your job.